Hello there. I am Sonia Nadina Haynes, and I am hanging out with my sidekick, and I'm his, Aeson Knight. And this is Psychic.biz Live. I am an oracle, or should I say the oracle. Now, you're going to have to sit down with me and have a chat to figure out which one I am. And I'm intuitive. I'm on Psychic.biz on Thursdays. I have written several books, which are quite life-changing for those who have read them. And today we're talking about stress, relieving stress. But you know what? Before the show started, Aeson and I were talking about my previous show where a lady came on quite concerned about aliens stepping in from other dimensions into our dimension. And she thinks that they have malevolent intentions towards us. But are we worth their time? What do you think, Aeson?
Oh, goodness. Okay, let's take on aliens first. By the way, I'm Aeson Knight, third generation psychic, host of the Conversation with Aeson, and also the Psychic Coffee Shop. And we're also, you guys can hear us on Blog Talk Live and also the Magic Happens Network. So, looking at this whole alien thing, I'm sorry. Okay, ancient aliens, I agree with, because we're alien. If you look at us, there's not really much of us around here. Do I think aliens exist? Yes. Do I think they're going to come and take over the Earth? No. They don't have time, nor do they care. We don't have anything they want, including us.
Yeah, I was saying, do you think you're slave material for some advanced culture somewhere out there in the universe? And what is it within our minds? You're saying that, there's a show called X-Files where they're saying, well, the alien landed on the planet and then humans started experimenting with them. Are we really that smart? We still haven't been able to make our way back to the moon again.
Yeah.
Unless we're doing it in secret and we're not telling anybody.
I don't even think that we've got the governmental power. I mean, the U.S. now doesn't even have a space program. Really? Why don't we have a space program? That was John F. Kennedy's major thing. We don't go to the moon. We have to hitch rides now with other countries to go to the International Space Station that we built. Mm-hmm. But it's like, really? We've got, are there aliens out there? Yes. Do they want to take us over and be malevolent? No. Are they waiting for us to reach a certain conscious level to even have a conversation with us? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
It's kind of like, all right, whenever those kids grow up on that rock over there, we might talk to them.
Yeah. I don't think the human race is interesting enough. That's my personal opinion. From our DNA, from our emotional state, from our reproductive process. I mean, even reproduction is messy. Oh my goodness. I'm sure some aliens out there figured out another way to reproduce than the way that we've chosen. So, nah. But it stresses a lot of people out.
It does.
Get stressed out.
Well, it does stress people out because they hear about all these thoughts and theories and it adds this additional stress. Hello, our life is already stressful to begin with. First, we have relationships. Yep, relationships. Hugest chunk of stress set right here. If it was a box, we'd have to move the camera back some. Then we have job stress.
Yeah.
Then we have family stress. And then any other hat you decide to sit on there comes with its own pretty little box of stress. And before you know it, you've got this whole suitcase, steamer trunk built up of stress. So what are you supposed to do with it, Sonia?
Well, as you were talking about the boxes and stresses, I always think about cats and how cats try to fit into boxes. And that's how we are with stress. There's actually a little picture on Facebook with this cat with its paws in a box. No, that's the only thing that'll fit in the box. And I think we've become so dependent on stress. I think a lot of us could not function if we were not under stress. And yet we complain about the stress in our lives. And the stress in our lives is actually affecting our physical body. It wears down our body. The cortisol that we create from stress is literally wearing down our bodies, because we're not in the Sahara being chased by a lion and running like crazy to get away, because that's actually how our bodies were meant to deal with stress, is through the running and the exercising and running up a tree and hanging out in the tree and yelling at the lion. Actually, I think lions climb trees. Maybe we won't run up a tree. Oops, more stress.
More stress. Where's the next, rock clifter, whatever. Our bodies were designed, and I say design because I think there is a divine design to the human body,
Yes.
to respond to stresses that we don't face now. We ain't having a weird beast chasing us down. There ain't a pack of wolves. We've domesticated them, and now they sit at our feet. We aren't trying to fight for food currently. We aren't, we really got ourselves into a domesticated state, but we're still the body is still going, okay, when's the next line coming through? I could use some excitement here. We got this cortisol hormone that needs used up. We've got this, this fight or flight anxiety response, adrenaline stocked up here. It's going to bust soon. So then we go and we create our own stresses.
Yeah. Yeah, and we do. We do, which is interesting. I mean, in a lot of the questions that I get asked are usually when people come to us as intuitives, psychics, whatever you want to call us, they come to us because the stress that they're in is so severe that they don't know what to do and they don't know how to handle it anymore. And so they come to us to get clarification. And, us as intuitives or psychics, and I use the two because, I think they go hand in hand. We have to be responsible enough to realize that the individual is, when they come to us, they are responding to that fight or flight. What should I do about my job? Should I face this problem that someone is bringing to me? What do I do about my relationship? I like this guy, but he's not talking to me. What do I need to do? And the stress level increases. And the first result of such is depression. Right. So stress will create that sense of depression. It's almost like we're locked in a box and we don't know what to do and we don't know where to go and we don't know which direction to turn. And so we start to turn in on ourselves in many ways,
Right.
Yeah.
And we start to, our body starts responding. I think that's why we've got a lot of immune based issues nowadays. Example, rheumatoid arthritis is rampant.
Yes.
Thyroid disease is rampant. Cancer is rampant, and a lot of that is abnormal cells because they're not being able to produce on their cells. They're not being able to do what they're designed to do because we no longer, even taking it up into a couple more centuries, we're no longer lifting bales of hay and plowing your, gardens. Well, not, acres and acres of land with a buxom. We aren't, doing the things that, we ain't chasing down the latest sheep that's come up missing. So our bodies are even still trying to move on from that. And when it does that, it actually has a massive effect on the body. And I think a lot of it has to do about where we're used to being at. When I say that, I'm talking about our heritage. We need to change the way we eat because of it. We don't need these 7-course meals that for breakfast because you aren't going and plowing something out. And I think, when I visited Sonia, it was so interesting. I loved her food. I loved how she cooked fresh. Guys, if she ever opens up her Airbnb, you need to book it just for that factor. But I liked a few things that you did there because, the meals were normal size, regular size. Okay, we're going to go do A, so we need fuel for B. So this is the plate you're having, type meals. And I think that's highly important. You want to talk a little bit about, how you've kind of changed your nutrition or how your nutrition has always been?
Yeah, I've never been one for junk food. When I was in New York, when I first got to New York, I tasted a hamburger with mustard on it. I think it might have been Burger King hamburger, and I really like that charcoaly barbecued flavor. So that I had that for about 6 months until my intestines started getting sluggy. And so when I went to get a hamburger, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't reach for it. And that's what I do is my inner self, all of our inner selves tells us what we want, what we need. And if you crave ice cream, eat ice cream. That's what I say. But get the best quality organic ice cream you could ever have. Because when you eat naturally, and I'm going to show you from I do a workshop where it's a 5 days workshop, and the first 3 days, well, you go on a fast. I take people on a fast. So the first day, 2 days are fruit. So you eat fruit from morning till night. People complain, oh my goodness, fruit again? And they eat fruit from morning till night. That's the first thing. People who are diabetic, I make sure they have no bananas. But again, you're disconnecting from the carbs, you're disconnecting from the processed sugars, you're disconnecting from all, and it's all natural fruits. Pineapples are in there because that's awesome for digestion. Papaya is amazing for your digestive system. So that's the first step. And then after the 2 days, I start to introduce vegetables. So then I would actually cook. I wouldn't do salads because I don't do salads very well. I like cooking my vegetables. But it's still crunchy, as you saw when you ate here. So I introduce vegetables like spinach, take a bit of butter, chop up some garlic. I know there's fancy garlic in the supermarket. I walked into my daughter's house and with disdain, she had already chopped garlic in her fridge. Oh no. Anyway, I went out, got my own garlic, chopped it up, added to the butter, and then take a big bag of spinach, toss it in there, turn it over, and a little bit of salt and black pepper. Oh my goodness. As this Greek guy said, you eat your other finger. It's so good. So, and then you can have it on rice. So that's what we do the next day, vegetables. And then we start to go into starches. And when we got to the 5th day, I made meat. So I could do chicken or fish. And what they found was that their stomachs had shrunk so incredibly that on the 5th day, they could only eat a small amount. So your system gets cleaned out from top to bottom. Your colon gets scrubbed. Everything gets cleaned out. And when you get to the last day, people are looking at me like, wow, I can't eat that much. I can't eat. So the meat that you would normally eat, you can't eat that much, whether it be fish or meat and such. And so I grew up on a farm where everything we ate, we picked from the tree or dug from the ground. And we didn't grow up with, we had a tinned cheese, which was a processed cheese, which you can only eat so much of it. If you eat too much, it choked you. One would stick in the back of the throat and you'd be eating and you can't get, someone has to use their finger to pull it back out because it's so disgusting, but we ate that way. And as I grew up, and even when I went to New York to live, and when I came to Canada to live, I only ate natural products and I know the difference. So milk, for example, I don't drink milk, but I put milk in my tea. So regular milk, that's not organic. When I put it in my tea, I get phlegm in the back of my throat. So I think, oh, that's kind of weird. So I tried organic milk and I didn't get the phlegm. So now I use organic milk. So I kind of do testing to see. There's some things that my body doesn't like, which I won't eat. There's some things I really don't like. I'm not a vegetarian. I cannot be a vegetarian. I'm sure there are others who can do that, but I'm not a vegetarian. I lost part of my intestines, so my body doesn't have the capacity to spend the time with the long stomach, intestines chewing and chewing on greens, to have it processed. So
Right.
I do have a little bit of meat and it's just perfect and such. So I eat a lot of whole grain and I eat a lot of organics, but I always allow the food to talk to me. So when I prepare a meal, it's like a prayer,
Mm-hmm.
literally, because from the choosing of the vegetables and the cutting of it and the processing of it, if you've had a really bad day, I always say, cook yourself a meal. Make
Exactly.
it, yeah, huh? Yeah,
Exactly. I agree with that.
yeah.
And I'm just going to share this because I get to enjoy some time with you. Her cooking are fabulous. Um, I'm not really big on preservatives. I really do not like preservatives in food, other than salt. That's all that really needs to preserve anything. That's why we can a lot of our food here. But I'm really happy because now I am no longer buying store-bought pizzas and pepperoni rolls. Um, for my partner, we are now moving to Sonia's Awesome Dough, and I've concocted a low-sodium, non-preservative pizza sauce for him. So we've moved to that, and the difference in his energy is amazing.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
this is someone who would barely eat. Now he's at least eating 3 meals a day.
Hmm.
Um, and he's doing really well with it. But it has to do with that processing, that stress, those hormones, and it's how our body responds to them and how we take it back. Because, there was a study out this week, and another show talked about it, about hungering, or angry, hungry.
You
When you're
mean getting angry when you're hungry?
Yeah, and how,
Oh,
Snicker commercials.
okay.
Okay. And they're actually finding that that's actually true. But I think that, when you're stressed, and especially if you're a stress eater,
Hmm.
I'm one. I'll guarantee you I'm one. I will binge eat when I'm aggravated and stressed out, like no tomorrow. But I've found with people that often, that anger, that stress is because it was designed for us to know, oh, we got to go find food because we're going to be hungry soon. And if we don't find food, we're going to get even angrier and we're going to get aggressive because we got to protect our food.
Hmm.
Sonia, we have a question in the chat room, and they want to know, what kind of whole grains do you use and how do you cook it?
Okay, well, I like barley. I like, and barley is easy. It's on the packet. So you can do pot barley by making soup. So, soup. And sorry, I got to go into the grains a little bit, but I got to go back to the soup. Because you use the stock to make soup, but you use the stock, you keep it in the freezer in small little packets. You can fill the ice tray with the stock. When it freezes, put it in plastic Ziploc bags. So if you take chicken back and feet, go to the supermarket, you'll find chicken back and feet. If you have to have them somewhere. If not, get a whole chicken, take the back out, and then you boil it with some onions, celery, and carrots. That's all. You cook it until the meat falls off the bone, which means you've got stock. So everything in the bone's gone into the stock. You could do it with vegetables as well, just potatoes and stuff. And then once it's cooked and it's cooled, you put it away in the freezer and you have your stock. So barley, making soup, big pot of stock. You can cut up your chicken, and when it's cooked, instead of putting rice in it or pasta, I put barley in there. Barley is really good. It's high in protein and it helps your system. I love bulgur. Now, bulgur is a wheat product, but it's the coarse part of the wheat, not the part they've taken all the outsides off. So bulgur is delicious. You follow the instructions on the packet again. You cook it. You turn it into a salad. So you put your bulgur in the bowl, and then you chop up some garlic, a little bit of garlic. You chop up some onions, toss that in there. I like red onions in it. Get some chickpeas. I don't know, there's another name for it, I can't think. Get some chickpeas, rinse it off, pop that baby in there, toss it, put some greens in it. If you like spinach, whatever. And then when you toss that together and just taste it, it is so good. And then you can make it even more than that. There's quinoa. I'm not so good with quinoa. It's a little bit bitter. You have to know how to cook it. So you have to kind of soak it first before you cook it. But, you know, whole grain rice, I pretty much, and flour, make sure it's unbleached flour. If you're using flour, unbleached flour, if it's bleached, it's going to affect your system because of all that stuff in it. So yeah, in a nutshell, you know, some of the grains that I use.
Well, let's go. You skipped kind of two of my favorites. The unbleached flour is highly important because I had made pizza dough with flour, with regular flour, self-rising flour before. Totally different taste. Didn't taste good. This tastes good. The other thing is your rice. You cook your rice differently.
Oh, okay. So which one did I do?
You soaked it. Instead of just putting it in a pot with water, you pre-soak your rice and rinse.
That's the East Indian way of doing it. They if you want your rice to fluff up and get really long grained and be set and separate, you need to rinse your rice till the water is clear, and then you soak it for an hour, and then you strain that water off, pop it in the pan in the boiling water, or in drying and put boiling water on, or put your stock or whatever. But soaking the rice will actually give you that fluffy, beautiful rice.
Well, not only that, but it tastes different. It didn't have that gritty, what I call like you're eating dirt.
Oh.
To it. It was very smooth. It was very tasty, and you could taste the flavoring of what we had with it.
Yeah.
Kermit, K-A-M-U-T. Have you heard of that rice?
I'm sorry?
K-A-M-U-T. This is some type of a grain.
It's a Middle Eastern grain. Yeah.
Pug Mom says it's really good if you've never had it. I'm unsure that I can get it. Just where I live at, it's different. But, you know, food is highly important, and, you know, it really ties into your stress. You know, because if you're not giving your body enough fuel, it's going to go into stress mode.
Yes.
You know, when I went on my diet, my personal trainer blew up at me. You know, because I had been dieting, God, a good 7 months, 8 months before I went to a personal trainer and started the gym, because we had to get me up to where I could actually, I don't know, get on the treadmill and walk for an hour without dying. And she says, you're not eating enough.
Yes.
The report here, you're not taking in enough food.
Yes.
Like, I'm eating 3 meals a day and 2 snacks and another snack before bed. So that's 6 meals. How am I not eating enough? And she's like, your body will go into starvation mode, and then it stresses it out.
Yes, that's true. Well, it depends. If your body's used to eating large meals, when you cut it back, it's like the old days. It assumes that there's not enough food, and so it starts to store the food as fat, because that's what starvation mode is. But for me, I eat 2 meals a day. Sometimes I may eat 3, but I eat 2 meals a day. And if I end up having breakfast at 2, then I'm not hungry for dinner, and I don't have a need. But then I guess I don't stress eat. So maybe that's the thing.
Right.
But, you know, I have enough calories to sustain, because my weight has remained within that 20-pound space since I was 18 till now, and I'm 57.
Yeah, and you're, you know, I'll tell everybody, sorry, you're just a little thing. I mean, I could have packed her in my suitcase and brought her home. Although I think
I'm bigger than I am. I think I'm bigger than I am.
You do like, you feel bigger than you are, but when you meet you in person, it's like, what are you doing? They put you in a drawer.
It's funny to talk to people on the phone, and then they come to my house and they look up and then they look down at me. Where did you go? I thought you'd be taller. Yeah.
Oh, but and the other thing that I find that really helps my stress is the gym. It's now become almost mandatory for me to hit the gym at least 3-4 times a week. If it's a really bad week, 5. What's your thoughts on going to the gym and taking out that time to exercise?
I don't like the gym. Sorry. I don't care for that. I'd rather go for a walk to the store.
Right.
I'd rather, whatever I do must have a purpose. I'm not very good at just mindlessly walking around the block. Though, I walk to the library, which is, I don't know how many kilometers away. It takes me half an hour to get to the library. But I walk to the library. When I get to the library, then I'll go to this store and that store and the other store, and then the ice cream shop, and then I head back home. So that's my hour's walk. But I tend to prefer purpose to going to the gym and running all over. I don't like it. I don't diet and I don't exercise.
Yeah. Well,
It's terrible.
Well, the reason for me going to the gym is it's time for Aeson to unplug. And that's something else that a lot of people don't realize gives you so much stress. If you're connected, like we are, we're connected to every social media under the planet. And every time we hear about a new one, we're hopping on there to reserve our names. You've got email flying in at 2 a.m, 3 p.m, all the time. Bing, 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 bing. People calling, texting, chatting. News media playing, and now sending push notifications to your phone that Hitler has gotten a new bombshell to share. But for that time, that a half hour to an hour a day, it's my time to disconnect.
Yeah.
The iPhone goes into airplane mode, which means no phone calls, no texts, no messages. No one's allowed to bother me for that time. And then, at least 30 minutes of it's in the hot tub, because I've now gotten into that hydrotherapy thing with my joints. It works wonderful. It's doing a lot better. Really a lot better. I was really surprised on the Canadian trip because I didn't take any of my medicine the whole time I was in Canada, which was awesome.
Nice.
And so, but that de-stress time, that disconnect time is so great. I feel so relieved from it. So yeah, that's how I've managed a good bit of my stress. But I like the purpose walking, having a reason to go somewhere and being out in the air. Taking notice of what's around you.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The colors, we're now into fall. Okay. The Canadians have been into fall for about a month now. The foliage was great. If you look on your sidebar, I think it's over here, you'll see somewhere in there a video of me in Canada and some of the foliage up there. It was gorgeous. But taking that time to step out and realize, oh my goodness, that oak tree has actually changed colors. Our body is medically designed to be outside.
Yes.
We have to have vitamin D, and the only way vitamin D is naturally produced is to be in the sun.
Yeah, the best for you anyway.
Right. So getting out, getting into nature, I really like that. I think that's important. Another thing that I find highly important is journaling.
Yes.
And
and that's interesting, even if it's a shot, because when I started journaling, which I don't do very much, I found my words to be incredibly whiny, and that's just me. Oh my girl, get off it. You're whining too much. That's what I thought about myself. But I started writing grocery lists of what I wanted, what I wanted from my life. I take assessment of this moment that I'm in. And if something works, then I'll write down, yes, this that's happening in my life is perfect. And I'll write it out almost like a narrative. And then I will say, okay, this isn't working, this is what I require. I think what it does is it puts me in the moment. I stay present. And so I look at the emotional requirement, the emotional, what's the word, gift that I gain from writing down what I want. Because when it's in your head, it just spins around and around and around like a hamster on a wheel, and you're not seeing it. Most times we don't see what's in our heads. But if you put it on paper, all of a sudden, there it is. It's like watching a movie on a screen. You know, it's written down, it's on your computer on a piece of paper, and it makes it more real when it's actually written down. So to the journal, that's what I do. I just kind of write and review. And if I've written it, and, if I wrote it 2 years ago, it's time for a review. If I wrote it a month ago and I think, I never thought of that, I think I'll add that. You go in, review, and add. So it's because that's what nature does. We're talking about the trees changing. Things change, and we do. And I think it's a great idea to, constantly review your life and to, do some updates if it needs it. If it doesn't need it, then, you don't have to. But I think we're humans, so we're going to need some updates.
Oh, yeah. Right. Well, we need updates. We need to update almost daily, weekly, monthly, depending on how fast-paced life we're living. Yeah. Also, something I think that adds a lot of stress to things, and this comes into relationships and, business and everything else, is we have gotten used to the microwave world. 30 seconds or less, and it's there.
What is there? My world works so slowly, I don't know.
The microwave, my idea of the microwave world, anything you want is supposed to be instant, just add water.
Oh boy. Well, we don't have enough water to add to make it instant. I see. I mean, I had a lot of people ask me about relationship. I've been seeing this guy for 2 weeks now. Is he going to propose? I mean, one of my children, finally got married after 8 years. It took them that long to decide that the commitment they're making with each other is going to last them forever. And I was so proud of them for taking that time and making that commitment, making the commitment to grow before they hook in. You know what I mean? To go side by side. Because the hardest thing for a soul to do on this planet is to meet their soulmate, and the two of them are working on themselves while they're working on their relationship. It's horrific. It's terrible, because you've got hurt feelings, you've got all these different things coming at you, and then you're trying to work on your relationship. It's good to work on yourself. They're working on themselves. And then when you get that union, then you can walk together. 1 multiplied by 1 equals 1, right? So, yeah. 1 plus 1 is 2, and 1 plus 1, it's the two people fighting with each other. But the multiplication is far stronger than the addition.
Right.
1 multiplied by 1 equals 1. Yeah.
And, and I think that that's something that we have to remember as humans, because we're used to this instant everything. I mean, even this is instantly being transmitted out to the world. She's in Canada, I'm in West Virginia. It's transmitted out. So it's instant. You're getting instant information. You're getting instant communication. But sometimes, and this is really hard, things have not grown to that point. Relationships is one of them. Careers is another. You cannot walk out of college today and be a CEO of a company tomorrow.
Unless you open it yourself.
Well, even then, then it's just an idea. It's not ready for a CEO. It's ready for an owner who's going to be a CEO.
Yeah.
Unless you've got $2 billion. You need time to figure this out. You need time to even checking it out.
Yeah.
Relationships, they take time to build, and they have hiccups and hiccups and hiccups and backwards and forwards and upside downs. And if you're moving through your chart fast because you're going, oh, don't like this one, oh, you're met you, dumped you, moved you, dumped you, boom, here's the soulmate. Oh crap, now what do I do with you?
Yeah.
You know, I've kissed 40 frogs and now you're here. You know.
Run! That's what people do. You know, you finally meet the one you want, and then the stress kicks in, and that's when the fight or flight comes up. You take off running. You know, oh, maybe it's not fine. Try to find every single bit of fault with the person, so you have no reason to stay, to hang in there, right? To stay and stay the course and circle each other and check each other out and circle each other and try to figure out what are you and where do you fit and oh my gosh and what's up behind you, and you know, that's what it's so gorgeous and so yummy and so delicious. You know, I think we've forgotten how to have fun, and that's part of what creates stress. We've forgotten that life is just about, you know, it's like we're kids in a playground, and it's necessary for us to check each other out and, you know, without the preconceptions of what that person should or shouldn't do. You know, I think I think we need to start creating a bit of fun for ourselves.
Exactly. And I think we need to get back into the art of courting. Do you
Yeah.
remember that, Sonia, when you would court before you
Court.
dated? Yeah,
Oh.
courting. I think that we need to get back into courting. I think, you know, the online dating has made us think that our relationship is microwavable, and it's not. Um, Jobs, careers, they're not microwavable either. I mean, you know, I'm going on 26 years. Sonia's going on a good at least 30 on me, possibly even more, on building herself and building her career. And this is her second, and you know, this is my second career. And, you know, we have still not reached to where we're at, you know, but we're still growing, we're building, we're learning new things, we're sharing ideas. But the point is, you know, you got to put that work in there. You know, it's like relationships, careers, work relationships, you know, having, you know, work people. You got to have all that together. And people really think that with everything it's instant, and it's not.
That's
It
right.
won't work. And then you start adding your stress into it, and it's even worse.
Oh, yeah. Because you're expecting the other person to respond. And if they're stressed out by our stress, they're going to take off running. And that's the, you know, and then you wonder, why is he running away? Well, stop and think. I always say, go back to the moment when you saw the look of fear in his or her eyes. Go back to that moment and double check, review, what did I just say? And
Mm-hmm.
you'll find it, because we all know the reason why things go sideways. There is a first moment when it starts, and if we don't recognize it, it's a landslide. All of a sudden you're down, and now you got to rebuild again,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Yeah. So
And, you know, so, you know, with that, you know, the being down and getting to rebuild, that's normal. Relationships should go through that. You know, they should go through those fall and December times and those winter times, but they should grow into that springtime when it changes to something else.
yeah,
You know,
I
we're getting
think it's yummy. I
it.
think
It's
it's
yummy.
yummy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, especially if they're yummy and they're very happy, but you only get happy in a relationship by going through those tough times, those, you know, I can't believe you've done this moments, and how dare you moments, and the drop you off the planet moments.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've stepped into, well, I've opened the door to a relationship, but I don't have a need for one. So if it shows up, it'll be I'm going to be sitting on like a fly on the wall watching myself. It'll be interesting.
Oh, I think it'll be fun. I can't wait for that, because, you know, in my opinion, and, you know, me and you kind of, you know, shared a little bit about this a couple weeks ago, maybe when we were talking offline. When someone goes through and they don't have a relationship for a while,
Hmm.
you know, because they don't need it, they don't have time for it, they aren't looking for it. I think that that's when their really long-term mate shows up, and
Hmm.
we'll find out, oh yeah, I should have gotten divorced 3 years ago, but she didn't, you know, this didn't go, this went on and that went on, and I didn't have this ready, and I didn't know what to do about this, or I had to stay for the children. You know, that's when you find like, uh-huh. Yep,
Uh-huh.
that's why I was so alone. You
Yeah.
decided to sit down in the middle of the path and, hold off for everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting thing. I think our world has gotten quite stressful right now because of all the expectations we have on ourselves and on each other. The whole idea that you meet someone and they're supposed to say to hand you a ring within so many days, and you know what? If they give me a nice bow for my finger, I'm quite happy. I don't need a ring. I got 2 rings and they turned my finger black. So I don't do rings. I wouldn't need a ring. You know what I mean? Like, this is a thing. We have a preconceived idea of what a relationship, how a relationship should follow. But it's the old days, right? The old ways where, you do this, and courtship, I think, is wonderful because it's exactly that beautiful dance, the
Mm-hmm.
tango, bolero, like yum.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the courtship is all about. That bit of shyness and that bit of conversation and the teasing and the sweetness and such. Yeah, and all of you who are listening, that's what you should be getting in your relationship. That's what you should be offering as well.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
But
and,
the other expectations about the ring should be at this time and we should be married then. No, we're in a new world, babes.
well, not only that, but those are old standards of when the parents,
Mm-hmm.
i.e., your parents,
Mm-hmm.
and their parents would sit down and go, okay, I want 10 acres of your land and you want 50 cows. Well, to do that, and since you want to keep your land and my land, and I want to keep my land and your land, then let's go ahead and marry our kids together.
Mm-hmm.
So within this amount of time, we will let them get to know each other and mingle. By that time, your child will buy my child a ring, and we will have a marriage on this date.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the contract, sign it.
Yeah, yeah.
That was what marriage was about: the trading of sheep's land and people's houses.
Yeah, yeah. The ownership of one, which you hand over to the other in a transaction, which is very interesting.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think just play, just dance. That gets the stress out of the whole thing. If, for example, he doesn't call you tonight, then, years ago when I was really naughty, I checked in to see whether the guy I was seeing was home. And so I got myself in my trench coat, got over to his place, and just crawled in and snuggled up. I didn't call him. You know what I mean? Like, this is the dance, the sweetness that makes you smile, that little cheeky smile. I mean, but I can see the fear. What if he doesn't want me to come over? Well, if you had a conversation 5 hours ago or whatever, and you two know each other and you got his keys, hey,
Mm-hmm. And if things are going well, why not go and surprise him or
that's right.
surprise her? But do it comfortably and have some fun with it. Have some fun
Yeah,
with the relationship. I mean, my
yeah,
God, you only live once, and yet there's
that's right.
only one way to get out of here. One way.
That's
I haven't
right.
considered the
Yeah.
second yet. Even though I think there is a second way, but the second way only happens very rarely, and I ain't looking like Buddha. Um,
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. And then the stress with work. Oh, it's funny. So many people go to work, they work for other people, corporations and such. And for some reason, they feel they have to put in more time than the job agreement says. If it says you should work 40 hours a week, why are you working 60? Abandoning your family or whatever. I know the whole, I got to do this because otherwise I need a promotion. But I think that if one is supposed to have a promotion, the promotion will occur, regardless of how many hours you put in. That's why you get mad, because, you know, Jim Byrne down the road, he's gotten a promotion and he works only 30 hours a week. It's because he's supposed to get a promotion. It's not about how many hours you work. So I think it's really important for us to find our priorities. Don't put yourself into burnout to try and prove yourself to a boss, because who you are and your work ethic already speaks for yourself, for itself. And, you know, you need to be comfortable and conscious and not stress yourself out trying to prove yourself. Who are you trying to prove yourself to? Daddy? Daddy isn't working at the company. Daddy doesn't own the company. You're the one who is working for you. And it's necessary to recognize that, so that you don't put yourself aside and hurt yourself to do that. Because a lot of people go into burnout and then they end up leaving the company. I did. And end up in different fields, whether they become artists or even in the intuitive field. A lot of us have ended up in this field because we've experienced burnout. I know we're supposed to be, but we needed a catalyst, which is burnout, which pushed us over here. And when I got here, I decided I ain't stressing myself out for nothing. I mean, I do go through that once in a while, but I do my best not to go into that stress thing.
And that's a good point you make. You know, there has been a few places that have literally banned their employees from staying over the night. And I'm like, what type of company is this that they're there all night long? Interns who aren't getting paid. Told you have to go home by midnight. You cannot be in this office 24/7. You cannot work late. I don't remember which kind. I'm thinking it was some big Vogue magazine or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, put some limits there, because in a salary position, yes, you do not have contracted hours, but that doesn't mean you go and you kill yourself. And your boss isn't, if you're already always there, your boss is not going to be able to tell when you're not there what benefit you're doing.
Yeah. Someone else gets your credit. Someone else gets promoted. Nobody knows, because you're working. You're stressing yourself out in the long run, trying to give to the boss or this person the impression that you're a hard worker. I have a feeling that they know you're a hard worker from the first day.
Right. And from your behavior the first day.
Absolutely.
And also, you know, when looking at things, you know, they say absence make the heart grow fonder. You know what? Leave at 5 o'clock and, you know, let them work into 7 or 8. Look and see how long. Think about this in real time, in real life. If someone goes in and takes something of yours out of your house, example, I'm going to notice this lighter is missing.
Yes.
Because I'm going to need this lighter and it's not going to be here. If you're living at work, your boss doesn't have time to look for his lighter.
That's right.
You know?
That's a very good point. Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
So take that time to set yourself into a schedule. Otherwise, you do burn out and you do crash out, and your body does react, and the body does go, we ain't doing this.
That's right.
About 2.5 years ago, I had worked myself into a tizzy. And when I say worked myself into a tizzy, I was pulling almost 89 hours a week in the office, doing live appearances, doing videos, doing shows, doing this, doing that, doing this, and working the design side of my business too. So I was doing both of them together, and my body shut down. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. Guess what? Most people didn't even notice I was gone because so much stuff was going out.
Yeah.
Yep. One of my mentors, Sylvia Brown, said, you know, she died a couple years back. Well, she still has 10 books yet to come out. And, you know, I'm sure they'll be being produced and sent out here soon. But, you know, she made the comment she had worked so much that, you know, people wouldn't notice she was gone until she's gone, until they ran out of books. There are still people that come up and know, so have you read Sylvia's new book? And I'm like, really? Who's she channeling it through?
They don't notice she's gone. Yeah, there are a lot of people in surprise that she's gone, which is interesting. Yeah, well, that's really awesome. I mean, I'm going to take that away myself, that they don't notice that you're not there
Hmm.
you know, when you're not there, if you put in so much effort and so much time.
Right. Now you had you know, another stressor is money and finances. Now you had an interesting formula, and we were talking about this about your
Oh,
money bug. What was?
yes.
Why don't you share that formula with our listeners?
Okay, so the formula to understand, especially if you work in a business where you like the intuitive business and such, if you want to know how much you need to live your life well, you take all your bills, which is your basic bills. I don't mean, you know, what you wish to make for future, just your basic bills. And then you're going to add 20% to that, and then you're going to multiply it by two. So let's say you make $100. You need $100 to pay your bill times 20%. That's $120. Multiplied by two is $240. So 100, take your bills, add 20%, multiply by two. And you take that, which is your monthly amount that you need in, and you multiply that by 52. So 52 weeks in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, no, multiply it by 12. 12 months in the year, because there are more weeks in
In
each month. Yeah. So you multiply that by 12, and then you divide whatever the amount is. I got to do my calculator here. You divide it by 52. So you know how much a week you need to bring in to make it work. And let's say, so boy, I got to do the calculation here. So give me a second, quick second. So someone else will probably be faster than me, but 240 multiplied by 12 is 2,888 divided by 52 is, so you would need $55.38 a week to bring in. And then when you put that down, you realize how little you need. If your appointment is, you know, like $40 an hour or $60 an hour, $200 an hour, $300 an hour, you can see that maybe all you need to do is have 4 appointments that week to make ends meet.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Or
it.
one website design a month or whatever.
That's right. And that is your, that amount is, because the $100 is your basic bills. The 20%, add 20% is your play money, right? So that's your 20%. So the other $120 is what you use to plan your future, whether it be retirement or save for emergencies or whatever you choose to do. And when that happens, there's this weight that goes off your shoulders, like, oh, you mean I don't have to do that much? Even for your home, if you work for a company, if you sit down and figure it out, it actually helps you to be a little bit more, what's the word? A little bit more careful, but that's not the word, but a little bit more careful in your spending. You won't go out and buy the expensive car because you think you need it. You'll buy a car that works for you, and you'll actually find yourself a better negotiator, because you'll go in there and you say, well, this is all I have. And, you know, you won't be having them talk you into anything, because you know exactly how much money is coming in every month, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that formula is a brilliant formula to use, and once you start using it, you'll find that, especially if you work in our field, bringing in the cash is not as stressful
Used to be.
as it appears. Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting you bring up the car because, you know, I recently replaced mine. And when I walked in there, I told them, this is the payment I want. I'm not taking a penny less.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing it one penny more. This is what I want. This is how I want it, or I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in there not even going, yes, I need a car, because I didn't need a car.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good car, but it was time and they were aggravating the crap out of me. But, you
Mm-hmm.
know, in negotiations, if you have that point of, you know what, I'm out of here, you're not required for my life,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you do a
Yeah.
lot better. I do that with networks. Networks, it's like, I've already got my base networks. I don't need to add extra ones on. If you want me, you're going to pay for me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to pay for me well to be there because you're an additive to my life. You know, so that's kind of like the way I see things. When you get into that point of self-power, you stop having that stress of, oh my God, I've got a power bill to do in 2 months, in 2 weeks, I've got to make this amount of money. How in the world am I going to? No.
You won't go there. Yeah.
You won't go there because you already have it all worked out. You already have the system all put together that tells you exactly how much money you have, how much is coming in, how much you got going to savings, emergency, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That takes your stress away. I use something called an abundance notebook.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'll write down every day, every bill, every transaction, everything that I use, go through. I write it into my abundance notebook. That way I don't have to worry about it. All the accounting's done, all the figuring's done, all the money's done, all the, when's this coming out, when's that coming out? It's all there for me, for the universe to handle. Why? Because I don't need to worry about it. I'm doing my job over here. The universe will take care of the rest.
That's right. Yeah.
So when people start freaking out on finances, my first question is, how much do you need to live today?
That's right.
I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I know it takes $47 a day to run this household at the style that I want it to. Now, if I want to upgrade the style, then I need to go back and renegotiate with the universe how much it's going to supply me.
Well, $47 a day multiplied by 20%, add 20% and multiply by 2, and you're good to go. Like that's it. And once you got, so what will happen is you'll immediately create the base that you require. And then the next month, the 20% will be added to it. And before you know it, you've already brought your expenses up to whatever it is you need, right?
Very much so. And we all, need to listen to that. Sonia's book, The Power of Money, is an awesome, life-changing book to take care of the money situation.
Yeah, it is.
Jewel had a really interesting idea on using Post-it notes. She uses Post-it notes to write down affirmations that she sees and sticks them where her eyes can see them. Now, this is kind of leads me into the subconscious thing, and we're almost out of time. But here, basically, your subconscious mind reflects back your theory of thought. So if your mind, example, Sonia's room here, which she just redone and gave us a beautiful view of one of her paintings. But you see how ordered ends, one side is like the other. Your mind will respond most definitely to that, and it'll relax. Whereas, if it's all cluttered and piled up and things hung all over and things aren't even, it will react that way and kind of freak it out, and that actually adds to your stress level. That's why, after, we've had the, okay, what is stressing you out talk when I'm doing coaching, my next question is, when's the last time you cleaned your house? And really done some nice mental cleaning, because as you clean your house, you're actually cleaning your mind too.
Yes.
Well, Sonia, what are you doing this week?
Oh, I'm working on my new website, which will help me.
Yeah.
Boy, I can't even think now. I'm doing meditation with the seniors tomorrow. I'm working on my newsletter. No, I don't have anything specific going on that I can think of, but I'm always running all over the place. And
seniors meditate. We've talked about you doing meditation at with the seniors, but where are you doing that at?
That's at the Shepherd Center, but in Brockville. But on my website right now, which will be transferred over, there are some information on meditation, and there's actually a free meditation download, so they can go into store or something like that, and they'll see it. It says meditation music, but it's actually a guided meditation. I noticed that the other day. So you just download it. It's actually like a purchase, but it's $0, and go and listen to some meditation and release some of that stress.
Exactly.
That's the gift I give you from on my website.
One of the gifts you give us, darling. You give us a lot of gifts. Okay, this week I am going to be in. I'm going to do a psychic fair. No, I'm going to be at the Lafayette Hotel in Marmette, Ohio on Friday evening. They're having a Halloween party. The next day I will be in Athens, Ohio at the Holistic Center for their psychic fair. And then that evening I am going to be at the Blue Pit in Parkersburg, West Virginia. So I'm going to be up in that Ohio area, guys. If you want to come check me out, you can find all this information on my Facebook page or on my calendar. That's my event page. So I will be out and about a lot this time. I got a really good agent. She's actually joined Psychic.biz called Heather Cooper, Heather Hawthorne. Check her out. She's part also a good psychic. She's a good booking agent. If you're looking for event planners in the West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, or Virginia area, you may want to contact her and see what she has available for you. All right. So until next week. Bye.
Yes. Bye.